Showed around with my friends, try to pick some energy up. It don't matter, I know you haven't moved on. If you tried, I don't believe it, baby. I know you lied all night long. What you mean I changed? I'll stay the same. Have me losing my mind. Said the city is mine.
Hello, hi, good morning. It is Big Sis Julia here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a little bit of a longer video. I posted on Instagram what you guys would really want to see on YouTube, and a lot of people hit me with a YouTube Q&A, something to help us get to know you better. I think I do have a few new faces on here and maybe just like on each platform in general. So let's do it. We also have a little bit of a special guest today. Hi, say hello. It's me and her every single day since I work from home. And so she's been so attached, like she's gotten super attached. Every morning when I try to work, oh my God, it's been impossible because all she wants to do is be held like a baby. And I'm a sucker and I hold her. I don't know if these questions are gonna be in order, but we're just gonna kind of go one by one and see what we got. Age, hobbies, and ethnicity/background. That's like off the bat what everybody wants to know, so I can just basically start with that. If you're new here, my name is Julia. I am 32 years old. I am a Mexican-American woman from the IE, the Inland Empire. I'm actually from Moreno Valley, California. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little town, little city in the Inland Empire. Born and raised there, but I left when I was 18. I left to go to college. I went to Penn State University for school. I got my bachelor's degree in business management and graphic design, and I knew I wanted to be in the marketing industry in some sort of way. I knew I wanted to, whether it was going to be make ads or design things or maybe take photos down the line. I wasn't sure, but I knew I wanted to do something creative that was going to make me money. I am just Mexican American. I'm not mixed with anything. There's nothing else in me. I've gotten a lot of different ethnicities over the years. Ever since I was little, I've just never looked like my family, I don't think. I've gotten Asian, I've gotten Eskimo, I've gotten Alaskan, I've gotten Hawaiian, I've gotten mixed with black. I've gotten a little bit of everything. You know, no one ever thinks that I'm just one thing. It's usually like, are you mixed with this or are you mixed with that? Sorry if I'm moving a lot. Alumi is just, she's fighting for my attention down here. And I'm like, girl, mama is working. I'm working, bitch. I do think a lot of Mexicans in general look Asian or like of some sort of Asian features, because I think we all descend from the Mayans and Aztecs in some way, shape, or form. We all descend from some sort of tribal native peoples. No matter what anybody says, like those were the first people here. We're gonna adopt some of those features. I know for me, like I have pretty almond eyes, you know, they're pretty thin. They're not very big and my eyelids are hooded. If I put on eyeshadow, you don't see it at all. I've seen a lot of Mexicans with features like that. I did get the dark wavy hair. I got, you know, the melanated skin, thank baby juice. But I do love my Asian peoples and I love my Asian food. In high school, you know, they kind of lump us together. The Mexicans, the Filipinos, there's this camaraderie I think we've always had. There's even an entire Cholo community in Japan. Japanese people, men and women, will dress up like cholos, and it's beautiful. What do you do for a living / are you still at your job or did you shift over to full-time content creator? I get this question pretty frequently. I have worked full-time probably since I was 18, like since I was in college. But in terms of my career, I have always been in the marketing, graphic design, social media world. Ever since I graduated school at the age of 22, I kind of dove right in. I started out doing marketing and social media for a dental office and then kind of worked my way up until I reached the beauty sector. For the past few years, I've predominantly been working in the beauty sector when it comes to social media, photography, brand management, marketing. Those have been like the 4 biggest things that I contribute to any brand when it comes to value, as well as photography and videography, since I can do those too. My most recent position was with this energy brand company. I was with them specifically for their TikTok strategy and TikTok campaigns. That ended last year. And then before then, I had worked for another company that just like didn't really fit well. There were all of these signs. I don't think you're meant to make somebody else's vision come true, especially when they don't even know what that vision is. So I decided to invest in myself. Last year, maybe in the middle of the year, I decided to say fuck it, and I went full-time into not only this content creation thing, but also trying to acquire freelance gigs when it comes to photography, branding, social media projects, things like that. People get booked for, social media campaigns and posting on Instagram like an influencer, but I was also searching for opportunities when it comes to photographing beauty product, maybe for a campaign, or maybe we need these Photoshop for e-com for our website, things like that. Not necessarily influencer driven, but the fact that I had a following and I had experience in this industry does help. So yes, technically I am a full-time creator, but I do also freelance for brands on the side when it comes to photography and things like that have absolutely nothing to do with influencer marketing. And I think that's probably the first time I've said that out loud. I think for a lot of people, they look down on the fact that you make videos for a living or you make videos for work. Like, to a lot of people, it's how are your little videos going? Or, oh, are you still posting little videos on the internet? And I totally get it, because who wants to be labeled an influencer? That term in and of itself is so encompassing when it comes to what people think about it. There's already a pre-assumption tied to it. There's already some sort of stigma tied to the term influencer. So I think for a long time, I didn't want to label myself as that because I felt like I was so different, or like I was just, doing my own thing or whatever. I wasn't an influencer, but at the end of the day, we influence. It is what it is. And I was fighting that term for so long, but it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I do this full time. I make videos, but I also offer a service. Aside from influencing, I also offer a service with my camera, with my brain, for your campaigns, for your marketing. I'm gonna make an entire campaign. I'm gonna do your e-com images for a website. I'm gonna make a little mini commercial. I'm gonna do a video header for you. All of those things I can provide. So to answer the question, yes, I am creating content full time, but I'm also freelancing on the side. What is your favorite part of being self-employed? One of the biggest things that always bothered me in any workplace is when you have anybody above you or anybody who's supposed to be giving you direction have no idea what they want. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what the goal is. We would love for you to just take over with your creative eye. You're so good. What do you think? If you don't want to give me the title of creative director, I don't want to direct your creative. In a lot of workplaces, you have a lot of people who know that they want a good end result, but they don't know how to get there and they don't know how to communicate it. But all that kind of made me realize, like, why don't I just do this for myself? I know how to communicate what I want. I know how to communicate the project the creative needs, and I know how to get them done. I think the best thing is not having to deal with other people who don't know what they want, because if there is a brand who's reaching out to me, it's primarily for me to do what I do. And so that's really not an issue. Overall, I think one of the best things is I'm going after my vision. I'm going after my process, and I'm working based off of the system that I set in place. It's not trying to assimilate to somebody else's systematic process that is or is not working. How to grow confidence like yours and be comfortable taking pictures in public. This is something that I still struggle with. Honestly, I think You're never going to fully get over that fear of being embarrassed or, being scared or just being shy because you're in public doing something in front of other people. No matter how, God damn, I clearly need to do my nails because my nail keeps getting stuck in my hair. That intimidation factor of other people are watching me, other people might think something, will always be there because other people will think something. They will look at you. They will not mind their business. Most of the time, people don't care. There are plenty of times I have gone out in public to do my thing and nobody bats an eye because everybody is so involved in their own world that what I'm doing is super insignificant and it does not matter to them. I do not pay their bills. I think we get concerned about it because yes, the reality of it is there will be people who look at you and there will be people who stare. But for the most part, like 90%, no one's gonna give two shits. And the people who do care are the ones who follow you. And the people who have mean things to say, the people who are all up in your business when you're doing it, those are the people who will never, ever, ever in their lives get off their butt to make a video to post anything on their own page. They're living vicariously through you. That's basically how I saw it when it came to my own content and doing it in front of other people. Yeah, it's embarrassing and yeah, you're like, oh my God, I want to look cool and I don't want people to make fun of me. I'm out here setting up my tripod, setting up my camera, taking photos of myself, taking videos of myself, literally directing my whole little mini photo shoot, just me and my tripod and my camera, and putting on a show for the rest of the world. And if anybody else has a problem with that, it's because A, they're a security guard and they want to kick me out of the establishment, or B, they want to do what I do, but they can't. But in that moment, when you're taking those photos in a public forum and you're really nervous, you have to think that way. You have to sit here and say to yourself, I'm doing this right now, regardless of what anybody else says or thinks, okay? In the moment right there when you're at the park or at the mall or wherever it is that you're taking photos, in that moment when you're feeling insecure and weak and timid and shy, that's when you have to flip that script and be like, no, I'm the poop, okay? This is my stage and y'all are just watching me because you're never gonna see these people again in your life. And if you do see them again, it's because you're famous or they're coming up to you saying, oh my God, I recognize you. I love it when people recognize me because I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right and we built a bond. So you can't get to that next step unless you take that first one. And when you do gain that confidence, girl, let me know. You know what? Not even when you do, just now, let me know and we can go take photos. How do you balance being a content creator and life in general without burnout? So I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but you do get burnout. At least I do. So I can't sit here and say that I've developed the perfect system, the perfect schedule, perfect sense of time management, because I have not. Actually, recently I went through a really big slump where you may not have noticed it in my content, or maybe you did, who knows? But I was feeling very insecure about where I was with my content, where I was with my platform in general. It's like, I guess branding, and I was overthinking myself a lot. I tried to do a 30-day challenge. I did like a 30 days of outfits thing on Instagram. It's still going. We're on day 22 right now, day 22, 23, something like that. Around day 15, I was basically filming and editing every single day, which is what I normally do, but on a bigger scale. Like I was filming a little bit more intensely, I guess. Like the edits were a little bit more meticulous and time consuming. It took a lot longer than normal. Around day 15, I kid you not, I was done. I crashed. I was like, I can't do it. This is a lot of work. This is a lot of energy. And some of the videos weren't even performing as well as I wanted them to. So I just felt like, what's the point? If I stop right now, nobody is gonna care. That like really played with my head mentally. But then I was getting DMs and questions of like, hey, what happened to the 30 days of outfits? Are you gonna finish that series? Are we done? And I felt like a failure. I felt like, oh my God, I was so focused on how I was feeling that I just like kaplatted everything and forgot that there might be people who are expecting this content. I basically took that message as like a, hey, we're still here for you. We're still watching you. We're still supporting you. You still have people here in your corner. That was like, I think the fire under me to kind of like ponerme las pilas and really go, because that was kind of when I was like, okay, let me take a look at my content. Let me take a look at my schedule. Let me plan things out. Maybe I'll make a Notion template and a Notion calendar, and I'll utilize my iPad a little bit more in terms of planning and scheduling, things like that. And I did all that. I made my Notion template. I made my Notion calendar. I utilized my iPad for, strategic schedule management and things like that. And I came up with a little bit more of a process when it came to editing and recording and things like that I knew would make my life a little bit easier. And I also told myself, you don't have to post every single day or you're gonna die. I was like on this kick where I have to post, because you have those creators who are like, the Victoria Paris's of the world, who was posting 20 freaking times a day. I'm not gonna do that, never gonna be that person. But I knew that the more you post, obviously the better for the algorithm, or the more they show you off to the For You page or whatever. But I couldn't do it. So I kind of actually had a conversation with my agent, and I was like, hey, I'm like freaking out, right? This is how I'm feeling. I told her about my burnout. I told her just like how insecure I was. And so we agreed that it was okay for me to step back and just like kind of take a beat, and I didn't have to film every single day. The whole idea of quantity over quality and quality over quantity, that battle was like living right here. Do I pump out way more content and just make sure I have 2 to 3 videos every single day? Or is it okay to miss some days, so that way the content that I am working on is a lot better than what I would have randomly thrown up? And so that's kind of been my cadence and my rhythm, is if there is a video that I really want to perform well, I will take an extra day or 2 to edit it. And I might not post that day while I'm working on it. It's a really delicate balance you kind of have to figure out, because you're not on a schedule, and you really can't be on a schedule. You can't just say, Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to film, and every other day is admin. Because if you have a random brand deal, or a brand wants to make changes on this other day, you're kind of stuck to their timeline and their schedule, especially since they're holding you under contract. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a very scheduled hour by hour, day by day job. You really have to be able to move with the motions and the ebbs and the flows. And I think I've done that pretty well. But I've just been holding myself to like this super high standard of, you have to be better than everybody else, because girl, we're brown. Whether you're black, brown, Asian, don't matter. You have to work twice as hard to be just as successful. I hate to say that, but that's historically what it's been. So then you just focus on the value. You focus on the value that you can bring to the table, and then you set up a process for yourself that's going to work for you in terms of the best way to bring that value forward. And that's kind of been my process, and my system. I take it day by day. I'm not out here planning my months, planning my weeks. Like, I can't do that. Then again, I don't have like all these crazy things to do. I'm a very mid-tier, I guess, influencer. I'm like right in the middle, right? Like, I'm not famous. I'm no Monet McMichael. I'm not going to the Met Gala. I'm not doing all that. But I'm also like medium known. But if you are feeling burnout, if there is a time where you're just like gonna pull your hair out and you can't freaking deal, step back. Go take a nap. Go take a walk. Close your phone. It's social media. It does not matter. By the way, you are so cool. Are you a homeowner? Any tips for single independent women? So thank you so much. Whenever somebody tells me I'm cool, I just feel so like giddy inside. I was very much a like little chilindrina growing up. I was not a cutie. I was not attractive. I was not getting the boys. I was flat as a board on the front and the back. Neither here nor there. Anyways, thank you so much. Am I a homeowner? No, unfortunately. And I feel like in this economy, that dream is just like gets further and further from reach every single day. If we can't even afford eggs, how you expect me to afford a house? Not to mention them saying they're going to start garnishing wages for student loans. I have hella student loans. If you're garnishing my wages, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford a freaking house. Like my grandma tells me all the time, Julia, why don't you get a house? You're paying more money in your rent and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, houses are not $10,000, $20,000 like what they were. The house across the street from me sold not that long ago for $1.5 million. It's not worth that. I'm telling you right now, it's not worth that. It's the exact carbon copy of my house, and my house is not worth 1.3. No, I'm not a homeowner. I wish I was a homeowner. But the one thing I will say is I did leave my house when I was 18. So the second I turned 18, left for school, didn't look back. And because my school was out of state, it was completely across the country. The distance between me and my family, both physically and I would say emotionally and mentally, grew. It grew further and further apart. So as I developed this life for myself and as I kind of settled down on the East Coast, every time I would come back to the West Coast for a vacation or whatever, it just never felt the same. So I think I had already established some sense of independence because of that. The first 4 years of college were some of the hardest times I've ever had, just because of how lonely you got. And I did get really homesick. And there was a time where I wanted to drop out of school just to transfer back home. My family was like, no, you're gonna do it. You didn't go out there just to get that far. You didn't get this far just to get this far. So I stuck it out, but it also forced me to figure things out on my own, to figure out how to survive, to figure out how to live, to figure out how to be an adult, to figure out how to get an apartment and get a car and go through the motions of adulthood. I didn't know that, and I didn't have my mom or my grandparents or anybody there with me to teach me how to do it. It was like the truest form of just being tossed into the deep end and seeing if you could swim. And I swam because if you didn't swim, I was gonna freaking be homeless or die or I don't know. So I figured it out. And I think me figuring it out made me not really need anybody anymore. And that's kind of how I learned to live for the rest of my life. Any advice for a creative that loves social but doesn't want to create just for social? So you're probably a lot like me. I've had this really nasty habit of having this thought process of, well, it's just social media. I don't want to put in that much work for it. It's just going to go on my Instagram, so I don't want to put in 2 hours of work, 3 hours of work just for something that's 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And when that happens, I think you really do have to evaluate what it is you want to create for. Do you want to create for a brand? Do you want to create for a website? Do you want to create graphic design? Do you want to create photos? What is it that you exactly want to create? Where you want to create it? Why you want to create it? Your who, what, why, when, and where, okay? The who, the what, the why, I think those are the biggest things. Your why particularly, because if you don't have a good reason as to why you're doing any of these things, what does it matter? Why are you creating content? Or why are you creating art? Or why are you creating photography or posters or whatever it is you want to create? So if you don't want to create for social, figure out what you want to create for. How has your experience been in making friends and staying in touch within the creator world? I have connected with other amazing creators who align with me just in the things that we believe in and in our fashion sense and just the things that we love and admire. I am grateful for the connections that I have made, and I really want to make more, and I'm really hoping that this year can kind of help me do that. I have been in this middle spot for so long to where no one really knows me. Maybe some people do, but especially when I go to these creator events, I'm not anywhere near a lot of those people. So most of those people at those events have no idea who I am. And that's totally fine. But it does make me kind of I show up and I'm like, oh my God, hi. You think I'm super confident, but then I go to these events and I'm like, do I go this way? Do I go that way? So I'm really hoping that I can make more friends and just meet more people and build more relationships. Any tips for photography beginners on a budget with how to get started and build skill? Do you have a camera? Step 1, get a camera. As long as you have a camera, it could be a thrifted camera. You can thrift the body, you can thrift the lens. Thrift stores have great cameras at a very great price because it's obviously super, super cheap. I have a few cameras that I've thrifted, both digital and film cameras, so don't be sleeping on thrift store cameras, I'm just saying. I think the biggest thing that I can advocate for when it comes to photography, if you're just learning, is understand your basics. Know your basics. I cannot begin to tell you how many people, photographers, want to come out of the gate and just like, I'm just gonna make the coolest shit you've ever seen. It's just gonna be so different, da 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 da. And they're shooting at the wrong frame rate, they're shooting at the wrong aperture, the exposure is off, the white balance is off, but there's a cool blur. You know, there's maybe a gradient color pop in the background. Know your exposure triangle, okay? Know how to expose, know shutter speed, know frame rate, know your ISO, know all of those things, because that's what's gonna help you create a great photo every single time. And that's free. You don't need money to understand exposure and lighting and frame rate and shutter speed. You don't need any of that. You don't need extra equipment to know how to do those things. You don't need all of these crazy light setups. If you have lights, great, but don't feel the need to go out of your way and go buy lights. You can also just use the sun. The sun is the biggest light in the world, and it's the most powerful light in the world. Use that. Use what you have. I can't tell you how many times, even to this day, I'll take photos of things or people, and my props or the things that I'm using as a light reflector or things like that is like a poster board from the Dollar Tree. Okay? If you need some sort of bounce, some sort of fill, some sort of reflector, and you don't have a reflector, you don't have a V-flat, go to the Dollar Tree, get a white poster board, maybe two, staple them or tape them together, and there you have your fill. You have your bounce. You have another way to bounce light back onto your subject. And it costs you what, maybe $2, $3? All you need to do to be a great photographer is get your camera and go shoot. Whether you're shooting outside, whether you're shooting somebody at your house, it doesn't matter. In studio, out studio, just go take pictures with the sun, in other light sources. Maybe you're going to a concert, maybe you're taking a walk. No matter what you're doing, take your camera with you. And once you learn how to shoot, and you learn how to expose, and you learn how to do all of those technicalities, then you can learn how to edit. Because if you know how to shoot and you know how to edit, boom, you're a photographer. You don't need this crazy light setup. You don't need this crazy $10,000 camera or $20,000 lens, okay? All you need is whatever you got and your skill. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing that people don't really like to talk about. Talented people don't need that extra shit. If you are willing to put in the work and put in the effort and put in the practice, you will be great. Effort is free. Unhinged question, but was your night guard expensive? Because mine is $600. So if you didn't know, I recently went to the dentist not that long ago. I went in for a cleaning and I left knowing that I needed a night guard. That is what they told me. I'm in there for my cleaning and I'm like, oh my God, hi doctor, how are you? And she's like, oh my God, great, your teeth are great. Listen, do you grind your teeth? No? What are you trying to do? I grind what? Not that I know of. What do you mean? What do you mean? And she goes, yeah, well, the teeth on your left side are a little flat. They're a little dull. I'm sorry, what? My teeth are a little flat? Okay, then I guess I need a night guard. So that's what happened. She prescribed me a night guard and they did my scans. My scans are so freaking cool. How cool are these? Tell me these aren't cool. Like seeing your teeth in 3D like that, I don't know. It just is something else to me. Because now I can see the inside. Now I know exactly where I need to brush and how I need to brush it. Because you can't see this stuff otherwise. Anyways, she told me I need a night guard. So they scanned my teeth, which is what you see here. And I'm supposed to go back in a week to go get my physical night guard. So I don't have my physical night guard yet. They're still making it. They're in the process. The quote I have like on file is $400. And I'm like not going through insurance. I don't have dental insurance, so this is just all out of pocket. I would love dental. I don't have insurance, period. I wish. Isn't it so crazy how you can live in America and not everybody can have health insurance? Anyways. Which Instagram accounts inspire your style? This is a tough question because I've kind of felt for a long time that my style was a lot different from a lot of other creators, and it's not a particular style that I've really been able to hone in on or identify or even name. I think a lot of how I dress and how I carry myself is based on my day-to-day. It's based on my mood. It's based on what I'm doing that day. I dress for the day. I dress for what I'm going to do with added Julia to it. When it comes to my style, I've always been very, very minimalistic. I've always been pretty simple. I think the busiest thing about me is probably my jewelry, and I don't even think I wear that much. For a really long time, it's always been t-shirts and jeans. And I think because growing up, when I was younger and in high school and in college, it was way different. I did try to dress up and I did try to be different and I did try to, I guess, identify my fashion sense. And it wasn't working. I couldn't figure it out. In high school, I wasn't happy. I got made fun of. You know, I wasn't a popular girl and I wasn't a girl that people admired or were attracted to. And if they were, they didn't tell me. I got made fun of a lot. I got made fun of a ton. And so going into college, I spent most of my days in yoga pants and t-shirts. On my way to class, I was wearing Roshi runs every single freaking day with some t-shirt that I thrifted or from some sports class that I took. The only sense of, I guess, style or fashion that I had in college was when I was going out to party or the bar or when I was dressing up for volleyball tournaments. Fast forward to now, I just want things that are going to make me feel good about myself, that are going to make me feel comfortable. My biggest thing is, am I comfies and am I warm? And do I look damn good? But mainly am I comfies and am I warm? Can I move freely? Does my belly hurt? Does it feel tight? Are my legs constricted? Are my arms itchy? Like, all of those things matter. Do I have the leg room? Do I have arm room? Is my tummy showing? I don't want my tummy to be showing. So a lot of these different things I take into consideration when I'm getting dressed. And so because of that, my style, I think, has developed into something very, very simple. It's mainly a t-shirt and jeans with some added spice. You know, maybe I'll add a blazer, maybe I'll add a jacket, maybe I'll add a buta stomper. I feel like I've coined the way that I dress in my own way. While I don't have any specific creators that I'm constantly going back to, it's not because they're not great. It's because my style is just much more simplified than theirs, and I'm not going all out like that. Everything I post on my page are everyday wearable outfits, and I think that's become my platform. Is I am the content, I am the page for your regular everyday girl, your regular everyday person who goes to work, who pays their bills, who, you know, doesn't live this crazy ass life. Like, we're regular people. We're just regular girlies. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what my fashion sense has become, is things that the everyday person can wear, but with a little bit of spice, you know? Will you be doing thrift hauls? Yes, I will. I have not been thrifting in the past few days. I did go thrifting about a week ago, but when I went, I only got 2 things. On the days that I don't find anything, I do just kind of make an Instagram video because there's no haul, there's nothing to show. But I can definitely start making longer thrift videos. Like if you guys want to see the process of how I thrift, or just to come thrifting with me, let me know and I can turn that into a YouTube video. What is the green toolbox? What do you store in there? I love it. So I think this question is referring to that little guy there, that green toolbox. I can do a completely separate video on that, but that is my jewelry box holder. I have so much jewelry, earrings, plugs, rings, bracelets. I couldn't find a jewelry holder that was gonna fit everything. You know, I had my jewelry separated into like 3 different little shelf thingies, and it was just too much. It was overwhelming. My jewelry was in a million different places, and now it's in one. So I have like rings and bracelets and necklaces, and they're all pretty much organized for the most part in the way that I wear them. But yeah, I keep everything up there. And if you guys want me to do a little jewelry toolbox tour, let me know. I really like all your styles of earrings. Wondering when you started to stretch your ears. So if you hadn't noticed, I do have stretched ears on both ears. I am at a cool 14 millimeter in terms of sizing for my ears. I started stretching in college, probably after I graduated. I was working in Zoomies. I do remember I was working in Zoomies, and I had met a store manager from a Zoomies in Hawaii. She was so freaking cool. She was just like one of the dopest girls I had ever met. We bonded. She was cool. We became friends, right? And she had stretched years. Hers were a little bit bigger than mine, but I loved them. And I was like, dang, like, how long did it take you? I asked her all the questions, right? And she kind of gave me her spiel. She rushed through it a little bit, was what she said. And she regretted rushing to it. But overall, it took her like a few years to get to that size. So immediately when I got home, I bought a little kit on Amazon to stretch your ears. And I still have that kit to this day. It's like they're silver tunnels that you put in here, or they're silver plugs or whatever. But I started stretching right after college, like maybe a year after college. And it took me about 2 years to get to the size. I did have one blowout. This was maybe when I was like 24. It was trying to make the jump from 6 to 4 or 8 to 6. I think it was 6 to 4. Trying to make the jump from 6 to 4. And it was the most painful thing I've ever experienced. I tried to rush it because I was impatient. I wanted my ear to be bigger. And I went too fast. And it just, the blowout wasn't bad because it didn't bleed or anything. Nothing ripped, nothing tore. It was just like sore and really red. And you could just see like it was like distressed, basically. It was like, leave me the fuck alone, let me breathe. So I did let them breathe. And yeah, I finished officially stretching them, I want to say when I was like 26, 25. I think I'm gonna stick to this size. You know, I really like the 14 millimeter. I like that they're discreet enough to where nobody really knows that I have stretched ears. They see that I'm wearing jewelry, but they don't really know what it is. And I can also still put hoops on. So like I love to put my earring and then I'll put a hoop like right below it. So I have like double hoops, you know what I mean? I still want to look like a girl, you know what I mean? I still want to do that. So I can't just like not have earrings. I did end up getting my secondary hole pierced just for that purpose. So I can have hoop plus tunnel. So this was like my way of taking something that traditionally looks more masculine, you know what I mean? And making it a little bit more feminine. What is your big three? Finances would be one, right? Like, am I comfortable? Can I afford my lifestyle? Do I have extra time for myself? Am I stressed? Am I pinching pennies? Finances are a big thing. No matter how people want to frame it, money's not everything, money is 80% of it. Because if you don't have it, life is going to be a lot harder. Not that you can't do it. I know what that life is like. It's not fun. I've always told myself I never want to struggle. I never want to have to worry. I never want to have to check my bank account to see if I can afford something. That was a line for me. Because I used to do that all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the negative, how many times I've like had to rummage and sell cans just for dollars to get food. And I told myself I was never going to live like that again. So that would be, I guess, number one. Number two would be career. I think I'm still kind of struggling through that and still trying to kind of figure out exactly what that looks like for me, because I think this industry is such an unknown variable. We don't know what it's going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I'm very glad I still have my degree and I still work on the side, freelance wise, but a stable career. You know, I want to be able to provide for my kids and my family when I have one. And I want to make sure that my kids know that mom be really doing that shit, that she is about that life, and that their mother knows exactly what she wants and how to get it. And they're going to be just like me. Like, that is the overall goal. So finances, career, and I think for now I'm going to leave that third one open because I think that one would probably be family, but I don't have kids and I'm not super close to my own family. So I can't really put that there. So I think I'm just going to leave it at career and finances for now because those are the two things that are currently running my life. I think your big three can ebb and flow. They can change. They can change as you evolve, as you grow. Things are never supposed to be the same. Neither are people. You know, when people are like, oh my God, you've changed so much. Good. I didn't work this hard just to be the same. We'll leave those there for now. And then I guess you know, as time goes on, we'll see like what I fill that third spot with, because I'm already 32. So am I gonna have kids? I don't know. I think my cutoff is probably like 35, but that's a long conversation for another story. So I think we'll end it here. And if there's any other questions that you guys have, let me know. But I think the next video I'm gonna work on is I desperately need to audit all of my denim. I feel like I have too much denim. I need to get rid of some. So that's what we're gonna do for the next video, which will be up next week. Mark my words, Sunday. Next Sunday, Sunday. I'm working on this thing called holding myself accountable. So I shall bid thee farewell. I'll see you guys on Sunday on the next video, on the Jean audit video. Okay, love you, bye. You guys, you'll never guess what we're about to go do. That's so cute.
Showed around with my friends, try to pick some music. It don't matter. I know you haven't moved on. If you tried, I don't believe it, baby. I know you lied all night long. What you mean I changed? I'll stay the same. Have me losing my mind. City is mine. Showed around with my friends, try to pick some music. It don't matter. I know you haven't moved on. If you tried, I don't believe it, baby. I know you lied all night long. What you mean I changed?